Today is 6th of August. We are continuing with the Khandha-samyutta, 22nd chapter of the Samyutta Nikaya. Now we come to Sutta 22.82. This sutta is also found in the Majjhima Nikaya. The same sutta is Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 109, called the Mahapunama Sutta. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi, in the eastern part, in the mansion of Migara's mother. Migara's mother is a nickname for Visakha, together with a great Sangha of monks. On that occasion, the Uposatha day of the 15th, a full moon night, the Blessed One was sitting out in the open, surrounded by the Sangha of monks. Let's stop here for a moment. It so happens that today is also a full moon night. So we are also seated here. Then a certain monk rose from his seat, arranged his upper robe over one shoulder, raised his joint hands in reverential salutation towards the Blessed One, and said to him, "Venerable Sir, I would ask the Blessed One about a certain point, if the Blessed One would grant me the favor of answering my question." And the Buddha said, "Well then, monk, sit down in your own seat and ask whatever you wish." "Yes, Venerable Sir," the monk replied. Then he sat down in his own seat and said to the Blessed One, "Aren't these the 5 aggregates subject to clinging, or the 5 aggregates of attachment?" "Venerable Sir, that is the body aggregate of clinging, of attachment, the feeling aggregate of attachment, the perception aggregate of attachment, the volition aggregate of attachment, the consciousness aggregate of attachment." And the Buddha said, "Those are the 5 aggregates of attachment, monk. That is the form aggregate of attachment, the feeling aggregate of attachment, the perception aggregate of attachment, the volition aggregate of attachment, the consciousness aggregate of attachment." Saying, "Good, Venerable Sir," that monk delighted and rejoiced in the Blessed One's statement. Then he asked the Blessed One a further question. "But, Venerable Sir, in what are these 5 aggregates of attachment rooted?" "These 5 aggregates of attachment, monk, are rooted in desire." "Venerable Sir, is that attachment the same as these 5 aggregates of attachment, or is the attachment something apart from the 5 aggregates of attachment?" And Buddha said, "Monks, that attachment is neither the same as these 5 aggregates of attachment, nor is the attachment something apart from the 5 aggregates of attachment, but rather the desire and lust for them, that is the attachment there." Stop here for a moment. Here the Buddha is saying that the 5 aggregates, the attachment is not the 5 aggregates, but it is also not apart from the 5 aggregates. It is the desire and lust for them, that is the attachment. Saying, "Good, Venerable Sir," that monk asked the Blessed One a further question. "But, Venerable Sir, can there be a diversity in the desire and lust for the 5 aggregates of attachment?" "There can be, monk," the Blessed One said. "Here, monk, it occurs to someone, may I have such body in the future, may I have such feeling in the future, may I have such perception in the future, may I have such volition in the future, may I have such consciousness in the future." Thus, monk, there can be diversity in the desire and lust for the 5 aggregates of attachment. Stop here for a moment. So here, the diversity in the desire and lust maybe like somebody thinks, "Oh, in the future, may I be reborn and have the Deva body or a Devi body, or in the future, in my future life, may I have pleasant feelings all the time, no suffering," etc. Saying, "Good, Venerable Sir," that monk asked the Blessed One a further question. "In what way, Venerable Sir, does the designation aggregates apply to the aggregates?" And Buddha said, Whatever kind of body there is, monk, whether past, future or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, this is called the body or form aggregate. Whatever kind of feeling there is, whether past, future or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, this is called the feeling aggregate. Whatever kind of perception there is, whether past, future or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, this is called the perception aggregate. Whatever kind of volition there are, whether past, future or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, this is called the volition aggregate. Whatever kind of consciousness there is, whether past, future or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, this is called the consciousness aggregate. It is in this way, monk, that the designation aggregates applies to the aggregates. Saying, good Venerable Sir, that monk asked the Blessed One a further question. What is the cause and condition, Venerable Sir, for the manifestation of the body aggregate? What is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the feeling aggregate, for the manifestation of the perception aggregate, volition, consciousness aggregate? And the Buddha said, the four great elements, monks, are the cause and condition for the manifestation of the body aggregate. Contact is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the feeling aggregate. Contact is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the perception aggregate. Contact is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the volition aggregate. Nama rupa, or mentality and materiality, is the cause and condition for the manifestation of the consciousness aggregate. I'll stop here for a moment. This one, I think earlier we read in some other sutta, saying that where these aggregates come from, the origin, and we read that the body comes from the four great elements, and feeling, perception and volition comes from contact at the six sense doors, at any of the six sense doors. If external sense object comes in contact with the sense base, then feeling arises, followed by perception and thinking and volition. And then consciousness always comes together with Namarupa, mentality and materiality. They are Siamese twins. They exist together and die together, inseparable. And then this monk asked again, Venerable Sir, how does identity view come to be? And the Buddha said, here monk, the unlearned ordinary person who does not see noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, who does not see superior persons and is unskilled and undisciplined or untrained in their Dhamma, regards body as self, or self as possessing body, or body as in self, or self as in body. Similarly for feeling, perception, volition and consciousness. That is how identity view comes to be. Stop here for a moment. This identity view is Sakaya Ditti, and Sakaya Ditti is as stated here. That means we identify ourselves with the body and mind, which is also, the body and mind is also the five aggregates. So we regard the aggregates as the self, or as belonging to the self, or as being in the self, or the self as being in the aggregates. So because we identify the body and the mind with the self, so we have this identity view. But Venerable Sir, how does identity view come not to be? Here monk, the learned noble disciple who sees noble ones and is skilled and trained in their Dhamma, who sees superior persons and is skilled and trained in their Dhamma, does not regard body as self, or self as possessing body, or body as in the self, or self as in the body. Similarly, for feeling, perception, volition and consciousness. That is how identity view does not come to be. Stop it for a moment. So here, when a person, a noble disciple, he understands the Dhamma, then he dissociates himself from the five aggregates. He can see that the five aggregates, the body and mind, are impermanent, subject to change, subject to conditions. So because of that, it cannot be the self. Does not even belong to the self. So that's how identity view ceases. What, Venerable Sir, is the gratification, the danger and the escape in the case of body? What is the gratification, the danger and escape in the case of feeling, perception, volition and consciousness? And the Buddha replied, the pleasure and joy, monk, that arise in dependence on body, that is the gratification in body. Stop here for a moment. This one we related earlier, how when you see a beautiful girl in the prime of her beauty, when she's 16 years old, that is gratification in body. And then that body is impermanent, suffering and subject to change. This is the danger in body. Stop here for a moment. That day we also said, because of impermanence, the same body, the same beautiful 16-year-old girl, after some time when she gets cancer, you see her lying on the bed, terminal cancer, and she's passing out urine and excrement on her bed, and her whole body become weak and yellowish and pale, and she's near death already. Then you can see the beauty is all gone. That is the danger in form. Or the same beautiful girl, when she's 80 or 90 years old, then she looks an ugly old woman. That is the danger in the body. The removal and abandonment of desire and lust for body. This is the escape from body. The pleasure and joy, similarly, the pleasure and joy that arise in dependence on feeling, perception, volition and consciousness, that is the gratification. And then the fact that these aggregates are impermanent, suffering and subject to change, that is the danger in them. And the removal and abandonment of desire and lust for the aggregates, that is the escape from the aggregates. Saying, good, Venerable Sir, that monk delighted and rejoiced in the Blessed One's statement. Then he asked the Blessed One a further question. Venerable Sir, how should one know, how should one see, so that in regard to this body, with consciousness and in regard to all external signs, I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit no longer occurs within? Stop here for a moment. So here he's asking, how can we eliminate this tendency to think I am, I exist, this perception, this conceit in us, that ego making, how to get rid of it? And the Buddha said, any kind of body whatsoever, monk, whether past, future or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, one sees all bodies as they really are with correct wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Stop here for a moment. So here we understand that because of impermanence, all bodies, whether you consider as your body or your daughter or your son, etc., because of impermanence, they will all leave us. They will all be separated from us. So if we attach to them, they give us suffering. So if we let go, then we can see this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Similarly, for feeling, perception, volition and consciousness. When one knows and sees thus, monk, then in regard to this body with consciousness and in regard to all external signs, I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit no longer occurs within. Now on that occasion, the following reflection arose in the mind of a certain monk. So it seems that body is non-self, feeling is non-self, perception is non-self, or not self, volition is not self, consciousness is not self. What self then will deeds done by what is not self affect? Then the Blessed One, knowing with his own mind the reflection in the mind of that monk, addressed the monks thus: It is possible, monks, that some senseless man here, obtuse and ignorant, with his mind dominated by craving, might think that he can outstrip the teacher's teaching thus. So it seems that form, feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness is not self. What self then will deeds done by what is not self affect? Now monks, you have been trained by me through interrogation here and there in regard to diverse teachings. What do you think, monk? Is body permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, noble sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? And they say, suffering, noble sir. Is what is impermanent, suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus: this is mine, this I am, this is myself? No, noble sir. Similarly, is feeling permanent or impermanent, perception, volition, consciousness permanent or impermanent? And they say impermanent, noble sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, noble sir. Is what is impermanent, suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus: this is mine, this I am, this is myself? No, noble sir. Therefore, seeing thus the noble disciple, he becomes disenchanted and he becomes dispassionate, then he becomes liberated. These are the 10 questions the monk came to ask, 2 about the aggregates, whether the same, can there be designation and the cause, 2 about identity, 1 each on gratification and this body with consciousness. So the Buddha's, towards the end, is driving home the point that all the aggregates, which basically are body and mind, are impermanent and a source of suffering, subject to change, not fit to regard them as I or mine. So he's answering that monk who had that thought indirectly. Because this monk, after hearing all the talk about not self, he still cannot let go of that self. So you see, the Buddha, sometimes he has disciples like this who, like the first one who asks intelligent questions, then the Buddha will answer him, not only for him, it's for all the other monks also in the assembly. So you see from here, generally the teaching is the same. It's only whether hearing the teaching we can let go or not. If our mind is not clear enough and our attachment is still strong, then we cannot let go. It's only when our mind is clear and that we can let go. 22.83 at Savatthi. There the Venerable Ananda addressed the monks thus: Friends, monks. Friend, those monks replied. The Venerable Ananda said this: Friends, the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta was very helpful to us when we were newly ordained. Stop here for a moment. This Puna Mantani Putta was one of the great Dhamma teachers, and he belonged to the Sakyan clan. There's a place I saw, I think in some sutta, where the Buddha was asking the monks, he was asking like in his homeland among the Sakyans, who is a good Dhamma preacher? And they told him, Puna Mantani Putta. And Puna Mantani Putta, here Ananda was saying, was his teacher who brought him to attain the vision of the Dhamma, that means attain stream entry. You can see through here. This Puna Mantani Putta, when I was in practicing Mahayana Buddhism, we used to do chanting, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the name is Phu Lo No Man Talo Ni Che. Yeah. Phu Lo No Man Talo Ni Che. Sounds the same, Puna Mantani Putta. And then Venerable Ananda continued. He exhorted us with the following exhortation. It is by clinging, Ananda, that the notion I am occurs, not without clinging. And by clinging to what does I am occur, not without clinging. It is by clinging to form that I am occurs, not without clinging. It is by clinging to feeling, to perception, to volition, to consciousness that I am occurs, or I exist occurs, not without clinging. Suppose, friend Ananda, a young woman or a man, youthful and fond of ornaments, would examine her own facial image in a mirror or in a bowl filled with pure, clear, clean water. She will look at it with clinging, not without clinging. So too, it is by clinging to form or body that I am occurs, not without clinging. It is by clinging to feeling, to perception, to volition, to consciousness that I am occurs, not without clinging. What do you think, friend Ananda? Is body permanent or impermanent? Then Ananda says impermanent. And then he says, what is impermanent, suffering or happiness? And he says, suffering. Is what is impermanent, suffering, subject to change, fit to be regarded as this is mine, this I am, this is myself. So he says, no. Then says, if a noble disciple understands this, then he becomes disenchanted, the five aggregates, and becomes dispassionate, and he becomes liberated. Friends, the Venerable Puna Mantaniputta was very helpful to us when we were newly ordained. He exhorted us with that exhortation, and when I heard his Dhamma teaching, I made the breakthrough to the Dhamma. So here he's saying, he attained the vision of the Dhamma, stream entry, because of Puna Mantaniputta. So it's very helpful to have a good monk teacher to help the others attain stream entry by explaining the Dhamma in the right way. 22.84 at Savatthi. Now on that occasion, the Venerable Tissa, the Blessed One's paternal cousin, informed a number of monks, friends, my body seems as if it has been drugged. I have become disoriented. The teachings are no longer clear to me. Sloth and torpor persist, obsessing my mind. I am leading the holy life dissatisfied, and I have doubt about the teachings. Stop here for a moment. Sometimes some monks are like that, and they are not practicing well. Then sloth and torpor is always controlling their mind, and they start to have doubt. Doubt about the teacher, doubt about the place, doubt about this and doubt about that. And then they are unhappy when they think about outside the world. They miss their friends, they miss their relatives and all that. And then they think of disobeying. Then a number of monks approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and reported this matter to him. The Blessed One then addressed a certain monk thus, come monk, tell the monk Tissa in my name that the teacher calls him. Yes, Venerable Sir, the monk replied. And he went to the Venerable Tissa and told him, the teacher calls you, friend Tissa. Yes, friend, the Venerable Tissa replied. And he approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him and sat down to one side. The Blessed One then said to him, is it true, Tissa, that you inform a number of monks thus? Friends, my body seems as if it were drugged. I have become disoriented. The teachings are no longer clear to me. Sloth and torpor persist, obsessing my mind. I am leading the holy life dissatisfied, and I have doubt about the teachings. Yes, Venerable Sir. What do you think, Tissa? If one is not devoid of lust for body, not devoid of desire, affection, thirst, passion and craving for it, then with the change and alteration of that body, do sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair arise within? Yes, Venerable Sir. Good, Tissa. So it is, Tissa, with one who is not devoid of lust for body. If one is not devoid of lust for feeling, similarly for perception, volition, consciousness, not devoid of desire, affection, thirst, passion and craving for them, then with the change and alteration of those aggregates, do sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair arise within? Yes, Venerable Sir. Good Tissa. So it is Tissa with one who is not devoid of lust for the aggregates. If one is devoid of lust for body, devoid of desire, affection, thirst, passion and craving for it, then with the change and alteration of that form, do sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair arise within? No, Venerable Sir. Good Tissa. So it is Tissa with one who is devoid of lust for body. Similarly, if one is devoid of lust for feeling, for perception, for volition, for consciousness, devoid of desire, affection, thirst, passion and craving for them, then with the change and alteration of the aggregates, do sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair arise within? No, Venerable Sir. Good Tissa. So it is Tissa for one who is devoid of lust for the aggregates. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is trying to explain the Dhamma very clearly for this Tissa, knowing that Tissa is still very much attached to the five aggregates. That's why he has doubts about the teaching. He is thinking of disobeying. So the Buddha is trying to make him see very clearly that if you continue to attach to the five aggregates, you will suffer. What do you think, Tissa? Is body permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent, suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Impermanent, subject to change, fit to be regarded as this is mine, this I am, this is myself. No, Venerable Sir. And seeing thus, a noble disciple becomes dispassionate and attains liberation. Similarly, for feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. Suppose, Tissa, there were two men, one unskilled in the path and the other skilled in the path. The man unskilled in the path would ask the skilled man a question about the path, and the latter would say, "Come, good man, this is the path. Go along it a little way, and you will see a fork in the road. Avoid the left-hand branch and take the right-hand branch. Go a little further, and you will see a dense thicket. Go a little further, and you will see a vast, marshy swamp. Go a little further, and you will see a steep precipice. Go a little further, and you will see a delightful expanse of level ground." I have made up this simile, Tissa, in order to convey a meaning. This here is the meaning. The man unskilled in the path, this is a designation for the ordinary worldling. The man skilled in the path, this is a designation for the Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha. The forked road, this is a designation for doubt. The left-hand branch, this is a designation for the wrong, eightfold path. The right-hand branch, this is a designation for the noble eightfold path, that is right view, right thoughts, etc. The dense thicket, this is a designation for ignorance. The vast, marshy swamp, this is a designation for sensual pleasures. The steep precipice, this is a designation for despair due to anger. The delightful expanse of level ground, this is a designation for Nibbana. Rejoice, Tissa. I am here to exhort, I am here to assist, I am here to instruct. This is what the Blessed One said. Elated, the Venerable Tissa delighted in the Blessed One's statement. You see, towards the end, the Buddha says, you have to go through this, the spiritual path. You have to come to a forked road now where you have doubt. Then if you take the right turn, you practice the Noble Eightfold Path correctly, then you must cross the dense thicket, the dense forest area, which is ignorance. If you walk the right path, you must go past ignorance. You have knowledge. And then after that, you have to go through sensual pleasures, the vast marshy swamp. Sensual pleasures will disturb you on the spiritual path. Then the steep precipice is despair due to anger. Anger also will disturb you. Then if you go through this, go to ignorance, go through sensual pleasures, go through anger, and finally you reach the delightful expanse of level ground. That is the Nibbana. So everybody who walks the spiritual path also has the same problems. It's not easy to walk the spiritual path. In the beginning, you have a lot of doubts, whether you are ready to walk the spiritual path or not, whether you are willing to walk, whether the family will let you go or not, and all these things. And then, if you make the determination, then you still have to struggle with yourself. You think you let go already, you wear the robes, but you inside you still haven't let go. So still a lot of kilesa, defilements within you. You have to fight, like sensual pleasures, temper, and all these things. Then if you make the effort, you plot on, you go to the jungle thicket, you go to the swamp, marshy swamp, then you have to climb up the steep precipice. Finally only you reach the top, level ground. So it's only if you have the good fortune to have a good teacher, then it becomes a bit easier. Otherwise, a lot of people, they don't have a good teacher, they have to struggle very hard.